Hello, welcome to this week's Express class. So we've worked on the glutes for the last 4 or 5 weeks. We're going to change the focus again today back to the abs. And what I want to get you doing this week is, I want you, if you have a Pilates ball, one of the small little weights, to use that. If not, just get a little face cloth or a hand towel and roll it up into a ball. We don't need it for the weight itself. What we're going to do is use it to start to work the adductors and tie them in to the abs a little bit more than we have before. So we'll get started. We'll come onto our hands and knees. So, hands below the shoulders, knees below the hips, tuck the elbows in, twisting them back towards the toes. Lift the knees up off the mat, couple of inches, hold them there, and walk the hands forward along the mat, straightening the knees and the hips as you do, squeezing the lower abs. Keep the hands directly below the shoulders, and then walk the hands backwards again. Rest the knees back down. Perfect. We're going to do the same, but we're going to walk the feet back this time. So tuck the elbows in again. Point of the elbows pointing towards the toes, lift the knees up and walk the feet all the way back to the end of the mat. Keep the hips tucked underneath the body. Perfect. And then walk the toes forward and rest the knees in. Good. We're going to walk the hands forward again, and then we're going to come up into a side plank from the plank position. So we're going to lift the knees up again, walk the hands forward, keeping the shoulders over the furthest hand, or the hand is furthest forward. Keep the hips tucked underneath the body. I'm going to reach the left hand up towards the ceiling, squeezing the shoulder blades together at the top. Hands come back down and swing the opposite way. Squeeze the shoulder blades and tuck this elbow in so it's pointing towards the toes. Doesn't matter what happens with the top hand. And back down. Squeezing the abs. Tuck that right elbow so it's pointing back towards the toes. Back down. Last one. Right hand to the ceiling. Good. And then back down. And then walk the hands back and rest the knees onto the mat. Good. Next one we're going to do, we're going to lift the knees up, and we're going to lift up one leg and one hand. So it's always going to be the opposite leg and the opposite hand at the same time. So tuck the toes underneath the feet. Lift the knees up off the mat. Lift the left foot and the right hand. And back down. Right foot, left hand, and down. Left foot, right hand, and down. Right foot, left hand, back down, and rest the knees in. Perfect. One last one. We're going to bring the hips and shoulders to the left, right leg back, and right arm up in front. Keep the hips and shoulders level. Keep the body pointing straight forward. Bring the arms and legs back down. Hips and shoulders to the opposite side. Left leg back, left arm up in front. Good. And then back down. Perfect. Turn over onto your back now. So we'll do a little bit of bridging just to get the glutes working, but not too much. We're going to focus on the abs today. So imprint the spine, right knee into the chest, hug it in nice and tight, and then lift the hips up and back down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Keep that knee nice and close to the chest. And 10. Good. You won't get a lot of extension through the hips. Don't worry about that. We're just looking for a little lift off, but keep that knee in close to the chest the whole time. 1. And the knee comes in a little arc as it comes up over your head. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, last one, 10, and back down. Good. Resting the feet onto the mat. We're going to do a few toe taps next. That's pretty much all we're doing for the glutes today. We're going to do a few toe taps next. We're going to do a few single leg, and then we're going to use the weight or a little tea towel or hand towel. After that, just wrap it up into a ball. We're going to put it between the knees. So imprint the spine, legs to tabletop, and just a few toe taps to get started. Keeping the back squeezed into the mat. You can tap with the heels or you can tap with the toes, whichever you prefer. You can make it harder by tapping further away, or you can make it easier by tapping nice and close to the hips. Good. One last one. And breathe. bring the legs onto the mat for a second. So grab that weight, or the T-tail, imprint the spine again, pushing down into the mat, legs to tabletop, and put the weight between the knees. So just gently squeeze that weight, keeping the spine imprinted, and lift. Don't have the feet together now. Have about an inch or 2 inch gap, depending on how thick that towel is, or the weight is, between your feet. So you want the shins to stay parallel all the time. Keep the spine imprinted, soft little taps, and one last one, and then back up. We'll grab that weight and bring the feet down. So what we're doing here, when we're squeezing the weight, what we're trying to do is work your adductors in here. We're trying to keep the adductors switched on with the abs all the time. So we're trying to engage them together, and that's going to tighten your pelvic floor muscles, and that's going to get the whole abs, pelvic floor, the weakest set of muscles in the abs, and we're working on them really hard. Next one we're going to do a set of hundreds. So we're going to imprint the spine, bring the legs to tabletop, weight back between the knees, squeeze the weight and keep the little gap between the feet again. So we're keeping those shins parallel, hands by the side, chin to the chest, head and shoulders up, and beat the hands. 2, 4, 5, breathe out, 2, 4, 5 and in, 2, 4, 5 and out, 2, 4, 5 and in, 2, 4, 5 out, 2, 4, 5 in, 2, 4, 5 out, 2, 4, 5 in, 2, 4, 5 out, 2, 4, 5 in, 2, 4, 5 out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep the feet apart. Keep squeezing the weight. Good. Get the head and shoulders up nice and high, and keep the chin tucked in. And breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5. Last breath in. And out. 2, 3, 4, 5. Grab the weight with the T-tail, head down, and feet down onto the mat, one at a time. Good. So you feel the legs working a little bit harder. You don't have to squeeze the weight hard. You just have to keep some pressure on it just to keep it there. As we develop into the next few lower abs, as the knees come to the chest, they're going to want to pull apart. So this makes us work those adductors, tighten the pelvic floor the full way through the movement. So next one we're going to do, we're going to imprint the spine, bring the legs to tabletop. We're going to grab the weight and put it between the ankles there. So straighten the legs to the ceiling, keeping the spine imprinted, lower and lift. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep squeezing the ribs down, pushing it back into the mat. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Last one. 10. Bend the knees, grab the T-tail out of the weight, and rest down. When we're doing that, we're going to keep the knees as straight as we can, and try not to let the knees turn out too far to the side. You want them forward or very, very slightly turn out. Just don't let them turn in though. That's really important. It's not in, not all the way out, but just maybe a tiny little turn out to the side, 5 degrees or so. Next what we're going to do, we're going to imprint the spine, bring the legs back to tabletop. We're going to put the weight between the knees again, 2 hands to the side of the head, rib cage comes down, spine is imprinted, 2 hands to the side of the head, keep that gap between the feet, it's really important. Roll the head and shoulders up, elbows into the knees, straighten the legs, elbows apart. Good, bend the knees, elbows in, straighten the legs, elbows apart. 2, 3, 4, 5, keep the head and shoulders up. 6, 7, nice slow movements. 8, 9, focuses on the abs. 10, bend the knees, grab the weight, rest the head, and rest the feet down. Leave the weight down to the side for now. We're going to straighten the legs down onto the mat, hands back behind the head. We're going to roll up and reach up towards the ceiling. 1, keep the shoulder blades down as you do this. Good. 2, and back down. If this is too difficult, reach out in front. 3, 4. Good, nice and slow and soft on the way down. 5, we're halfway there. Shoulders are relaxed the whole time, fingers pointing up to the ceiling. 6, and down. 7, good, last 3, shoulders drop back. 8, 2 more, 9, one last one, 10, and then roll back down onto the mat and rest out. So bend the knees again. This time I'm going to go into a straight leg stretch, or sorry, a flutter kicks. We're going to roll the upper body up, working the upper abs, and we're going to stretch the legs out. Imprint the spine, rib cage comes down, hands by the side, legs to tabletop, straighten the legs to the ceiling, 2 hands to the back of the left calf, lower the right heel to the mat, and switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Bend the knees, press the head, and bring your feet down onto the mat. Good. Next we're going to roll up into teaser, or into boat pose. We haven't done this one in a while. So, well, I haven't done much anyway. Imprint the spine, legs to tabletop, hands back behind the head. We'll grab that weight again. We're going to place it between the knees, squeezing, just gently squeezing it. Arms forward, chin to the chest, onto the back of the hips. And don't go too far, that's the extra weight. Good, and 2. Chest forward, and back down. 3, and down. 4, back down. 5, good, keep a gap between the heels. 6, chest forward at the end, 4 more. 7, don't let the heels touch the mat, I'm cheating. 8, last 2. 9, back down, last one. 10, and down, onto the mat, grab the weight, leave it down to the side, and rest the feet down. We're going to turn over onto the stomach next, and we're going to stretch the back out just before we finish. So, hands either side of the chest, just below the shoulders, imprint the spine, and then lift the chest up. You might feel a little bit of stretch in the low back, you might feel a little bit of stretch in the abs after working them out. When you come up, tuck the elbows in, and drop the shoulders back. And then lower back down. Good. Keep the elbows tucked in, and then lift up, and lower back down. One more. Lift, elbows are tucked in, and lower down. Good. Keep the knees together, heels together. And we're going to sit back onto the heels, stretching the arms forward, walk the hands further down the mat, as far as you can. Keep sitting on the heels. Bring the 2 hands out to the left side of the mat. Good. Bring 2 hands out to the right. And you feel a big stretch on the left side of the rib cage into the back of the shoulder. We're stretching at the lats there. And then back towards the middle, sitting onto the heels again. Crawl the fingers along the mat, keeping the hips and the heels as close together as you can. Tucking the rib cage in. So squeezing the upper abs. And then come back. Good. So that's today's express class. I hope you enjoyed it. A little bit more of a focus on the abs. We're going to work on that a little bit more over the next month into December. So we'll see how that goes. See you next week. Bye bye.